This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, coming at you with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. I would like to thank my friend Bill for coming over last night and visiting me with his vaporizer, by the way. It got me so high that I actually ate two raw steaks. They were filet mignon and they were delicious, but those vaporizers are very effective for weed. So let me get into the news now that I've digressed. After the latest set of NXT firings, it's now going to be Bruce Pritchard and Christine Lubrano basically overseeing the NXT creative process as far as what ideas are being used to boost ratings, according to Meltzer. And you can expect to see more main roster talent like AJ Styles and Matt Riddle coming over to NXT in an effort to boost ratings. Sir Mo from Men on a Mission, who I did an interview with only about 2 months ago, is apparently in really bad health right now due to COVID, and he's having some serious kidney issues. So keep him in your prayers. And I did post on my YouTube stories to keep Sir Mo in your prayers. And some people were like, Hannibal, you're an atheist. What are you telling people to keep him in your prayers for? I am not an atheist. I am spiritual, and I'm not opposed to anybody praying for anybody, because if by some chance there is a God out there and prayers work, then why would I be opposed to praying for someone like Sir Mo, who in my experience is a great guy? So keep fighting, Mo. You can do it. John Cena was on Ellen DeGeneres this past week and says it doesn't look like he's going to make WrestleMania this year. The company is trying to push Stephanie McMahon hard as the public face of WWE. Yeah, that's really going to make it cool. Make the public face of WWE above middle-aged woman. The company announced that Sasha Banks is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with an injury that she sustained on the January 2nd show in Fayetteville. Charlotte Flair had given Banks a backbreaker, and Banks had her foot underneath and landed badly. And the MRI showed bruising to the bone, but she's going to recover through physical therapy without surgery. So I like Sasha Banks. She's one of the best looking divas. So good luck on her recovery. Freddie Prinze Jr., who used to be a WWE writer, and by the way, he was not in American Pie. I once said on here that he was in American Pie, and oh my God, did I ever get heat from that? So to be honest, I don't know what Freddie Prinze Jr. was in, but he was a 90s star and a WWE writer. And he said that a Fox executive told him in 2019 that Vince was trying to get Fox to buy the company back then. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they eventually sell it. MLW is suing WWE, claiming interference with contractual relations, intentional interference with prospective economic relations, and violations of Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court in Northern California, San Francisco. Suggested that there was efforts by WWE to intentionally destroy MLW by unlawfully interfering with their access to media markets and wrestling talent. There's very few MLW wrestlers that I've spoken to that have been treated well by the company. From my understanding, the company doesn't have great funding. From my understanding, I kick their ass monthly in YouTube views. And by the way, WWE kicks my ass in YouTube views, but I'm not suing them over it. I'm fighting and building my own audience, creating my own niche, and doing a good job of it. So This is kind of sad for MLW. I think it's another shovel in the grave of dirt for a company nobody really cares about anymore. Although I'm not saying, I mean, Joseph Samael is a friend of mine. Alex Hammerstone's a friend of mine. There is some talented people in that company, but it's less than a handful. Sonny, a.k.a. Tammy Sytch, who's 49 now, was arrested yesterday in New Jersey with 2 counts of possessing a weapon and 1 charge of terroristic threats. Her maximum sentence would be 3 to 5 years for each count of possession of a weapon and up to 1 year in prison for the terroristic threats. Poor Sonny just can't keep herself out of trouble, but at least it wasn't a DUI this time. As far as the Royal Rumble, Mickie James, who works for Impact and NWA, will be appearing in the Royal Rumble in St. Louis, January 29th. Apparently, according to Meltzer, she's likely not under contract with Impact. Nikki Bella also announced that she's been cleared to wrestle, and both Bellas are expected to appear in the Royal Rumble. Because there's not that many women on the roster available, Dave Meltzer is reporting that some wrestlers like Mickie James, Lita, Michelle McCool, Kelly Kelly, Summer Rae are all coming back for the match. PW Insider is also reporting that Melina, one of my favorite divas, and Cameron are also scheduled for the show. I remember I actually hung out with Melina the night of the Philadelphia Royal Rumble. And what a class act she is. Apparently, Scott D'Amore, working with WWE for allowing wrestlers like Mickie James to work for WWE, would be the first time Impact has worked with WWE since Dixie Carter allowed Christian Cage to do something for them many years ago. Impact only gets like 0.01, 0.02 ratings. They're not really competition to WWE. So there's no negative benefit to Impact for that deal. And for WWE, Impact is just a blip on the radar screen to them. Dynamite featuring Punk versus Wardlow this week was down to a 0.39 rating for their Raleigh, North Carolina show. It had 5,100 fans with 4,700 paid. The building holds 21,000 for basketball. The NXT featuring AJ Styles, who I beat, by the way, 2 times in one night, back when he was New Japan Pro Wrestling Champion, and that match is on the Hannibal TV, did a 0.14 rating. AEW did a Battle of the Belts special January 9th. It did a 0.27 rating. The show in Charlotte drew 5,700 fans with 5,400 paid. Last time they were in the market, they drew 7,000 fans, so the live attendance was down. Raw this past Monday with Brock Lesnar confronting Lashley did a 0.39 rating, had 5,700 fans in Philadelphia. And Meltzer points out that the last time they were in Philadelphia for SmackDown back in September, they did 11,500 fans. So a huge drop there from the September taping to this week's taping. AEW Rampage last week did a 0.24 rating. SmackDown last week did a 0.58 rating from Ucasville, Connecticut. And they had 5,500 paid in the building. Cody Rhodes wasn't at TV on the Battle of the Belts because he's been quarantining because one of his family members had COVID. The New Japan versus Noah Japan Pro Wrestling show did 7,077 paid. Charlie Haas, 49 years old, had an Impact match January 9th against Josh Alexander in Dallas, where Haas basically just put Alexander over. Haas suffered a concussion in the match. Apparently, Haas is not signed to Impact. This was a one-time appearance, although he said he would like to make more appearances in the future. It's too bad that he did that job in the Dallas market because he's been pushed so hard in the Dallas market for like the past year and a half. I really hope the pay was worth it for him. PCO is apparently signed with Impact. Tommy Dreamer apparently still works for Impact, but behind the scenes on the creative side. This is despite the dark side of the ring comments that he got a lot of heat for sticking up with Ric Flair a few months ago. And I guess Dreamer has confirmed that they're interested in William Regal. Robert Gibson is retiring from the Rock and Roll Express, and fellow WWE Hall of Famer Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson are going to do a farewell tour this year. Morton is not retiring. Diona Boher, who worked for Glow as Matilda the Hun and Queen Kong, passed away at 70 this week. She'd been suffering from health issues for a number of years. She did amateur wrestling in college and did fetish porn videos, as well as a 900 sex line. Took judo classes under Judo Jean LaBelle, the legendary trainer, and then she auditioned for Glow. They were looking for a large wrestler to fight the model types as a heel, and dubbed her Matilda the Hun. And eventually, Glow, of course, went out of business, and she worked for David McLean in another women's promotion until she had a falling out due to money. She also did acting and stunt work and even appeared in an Aerosmith video. She had severe neck and back injuries due to an automobile accident in 2001 and has been in a wheelchair for many years. So sorry to her family and to her fellow Glow wrestlers. I'm friends with a lot of them on Facebook and other social media, and they all seem pretty heartbroken over this. By the way, you can follow Hannibal TV on Facebook at the Hannibal TV. This same stream you're watching on YouTube is streaming on Facebook right now. So subscribe to YouTube and like our Facebook page. And while you're at it, why not follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Hannibal TV. Bill Mercer, who's 95 years old, Texas legendary announcer. I guess he's the oldest person alive to be part of U.S. wrestling right now. He's contracted COVID-19 and he's recovering from it. He's described it as being like a bad cold. A lot of people are describing it that way. Of course, we're locked down here in Ontario right now due to COVID. I spoke to both Kevin Sullivan and superstar Billy Graham this week. Both of them are doing well. Let me get into some of your questions. That's the main news for the day. Again, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, and hit the get notifications button. We have a big interview with the Warlord coming up next week. Tons more interviews coming. Mike, what's happening with Walter? He's moving to the States and he's going to be full-time NXT. What's up? Gonna finish this, maybe do another video, do some DDP yoga, run some errands, train some more later, and I got a pretty busy weekend ahead of me. John likes the Blood Hunter. By the way, the Blood Hunter is returning to the ring April the 23rd in Ontario to take on Mil Mortes. Tickets on sale now at ticketweb.ca. And Rene Dupree, who I had on the podcast last week, will be taking on Jeremy Prophet for the Canadian title on that show. And Kevin Sullivan's going to be there for that event too, by the way. His first time appearing in Canada in a long time. Paul says NXT was cool 7 or 8 years ago. Julian apparently has talked to God firsthand, and he says God is real and he is great. Tell that to all the starving people in the world. Tell that to the people out there in the -20 weather freezing their asses off hungry. Tell that to the dogs being boiled alive and skinned alive in China because the adrenaline from being tortured before they're eaten makes them taste better to the Chinese. Scott says, good morning from Ottawa. John, I don't know why people are saying The Rock's buying WWE. That doesn't seem to be... It would be a headache for him. He's already a multi-millionaire, very successful. Why would he want that headache? Craig checking in from Indianapolis. Carmen, Jim Cornette just talks about me because I get him hits. If I didn't get him hits, he wouldn't talk about me. Paul likes Sasha Banks as well. Wendell, do I think they will extend the Ontario lockdown? No comment because I'm trying to stay positive. And I'm using this time to lean out and work and get a head start on my taxes. E.T., do people still watch wrestling? Some do. Rob, I didn't delete any comments from your Dan Severin on Ken Shamrock's steroid use videos. There are some words that are blocked on my channel, and those comments automatically don't get shown. So I can't help you. I read like thousands of comments a day on here. So to remember every comment that someone makes is a little difficult. Dawn, cannot wait for the Blood Hunter movie. Maybe you can help on the soundtrack. There are some rumors that there's people interested in making a Blood Hunter horror movie. There are some rumors about that, so who knows? What's up to you, Wayne? Someone making fun of Matilda the Hun doing porn. Well, I don't know. I'm not into that, to the big girls porn. I'm actually not that much of a porn person, to be perfectly honest with you. I have a vivid imagination, and I can use my imagination. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And again, subscribe and have a great weekend. Thanks for all your support, questions, comments, and tips. Last question. Where's Piper? I do not have her this weekend. My ex has her. But hopefully she'll be back soon because she had a blast with me last weekend. We had a blast together. We're best buddies. Have a good weekend. Love you guys. Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video. Then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't miss any of my latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Facebook at The Hannibal TV for more live streams and videos. And while you're at it, follow us on Instagram